up, haven't we? From the traditionals to the moderns to the Europeans now. And then we're going on to the contemporary with Mary FC. So that'll be great, Mary. And it's this wonderful transition through floral art and floristry that brings us all here, I believe. This love of floral art and flowers. And I'd like to welcome the students from Ride Tape. So we've got 1 through 5, 6 students from Ride Tape. Thank you. So welcome, ladies, and good luck on your journey. I'm at the end of my journey. Right at this end. I thought about this because we're into European, and I went on a European study tour in 1992. Now, it doesn't take much maths to know that that was nearly 30 years ago. And I went with Helen Tremaine, who took a European study tour to Germany, to Gregor Loesch. We went to one designer in Holland, and then we went to Gregor. This was the first book that I ever bought off Gregor. It's been through the fires because I had and this is the 1992, so I'm really proud of that. And then we went through, this is another one of his original books, 1992, that we bought over there. And this is another really, really good book. This is on structures. And for anybody that's interested in any facet of floral art or floral design, this is a tremendous book, and you're welcome to look at these books. And as you probably, many of you have got a mass of books at home, a mass of books. I've got the other one that I look at quite regularly, hence all these little stickers. And this is another really good Gregor book. It's talking about the principles. And many of the things that we can refer back time and time again. And I do believe these books were the beginning of the fundamentals of the European designs. When we did the tour to Germany, everybody here was still doing A-frames. And many of the designers said, we're 10 years behind the Europeans because we're down here, you know, in Australia. The communications weren't that good at that time. I don't believe we had many emails, or probably we didn't have emails. We probably had fax machines. That was the first, wasn't it? So we had all of that. And haven't we progressed since then? It's been wonderful. The competitions that we've had during the last year with COVID, international competition, people's names have become a lot more recognisable. We've had international designers out here, and I was only talking to Gwen, I think we were on one of the first Gregor workshops he had here in Australia, and that was out on the Hume Highway in about, we couldn't remember, could we? It was so long ago. And so this is all a culmination, I think, of how work has progressed, how we've progressed. And with the European styles, it came in from, I believe there's only one style in the European section of our manuals, and that is the formal linear, which is still radial. So we have a radial in the traditional styles and probably in a lot of the modern styles. And when we come to the European styles, we start going parallel and we start grouping. We start doing all of those things. We either group in colour or in textures or whatever. So we're talking about those things. We've also talked yesterday about our elements. And so the elements come in, and without the elements, before we start a design, I think we're floundering. Because we have a stem, and we think, oh, I do love that, how am I going to use it? What can I use it with? Can we use it with these beautiful nymphophias? Does the colour go right? The textures, are they okay? Is the form different? So we go through all the elements. Form, colour, texture. and space 9. Okay, and then we have them here in a box. So sometimes if you put them all together, what do you feel you would like to have in a design, and you put them into a container or something, and you think, I've got the elements there to work with. So you've got all of this colouring, you've got the textures in here, you've got a line, you've got a form, you've got all of those in there, and then you can start constructing. Okay, and then we go on to what? We've got our elements, and then we've got to use what we've got. So then we think about the principles, don't we? So we'll start with this design first, which is going to be, I couldn't make up my mind. No, that's the name of it, because I couldn't. So it's going to be an informal parallel. So I've already started my informal parallel by putting two placements together to create a parallel. It doesn't matter what these guys are doing at the moment. These guys can have their little, my two Georgina and George. This is what they do. They do this wonderful cavorting thing, but anyway, they're very sensuous. I believe that's a very sensuous design. And I think we should have that on our schedules. A sensuous design. I'm only joking, guys. So we have these two wonderful placements here. We could call that, I'm not going to go any higher because I could, but I'm going to keep this just a little bit down in a 5. So we're talking already about our principles, aren't we? The principles of 8, 5 and 3. And these wonderful Nivophias, I think they're always more beautiful when they're in this stage than when they come out into that big glossy stage. And I'm very lucky I do have them in the garden, so I feel privileged really. And I think I'll have these two cavorting too. Which way should we cavort them? They could go that way, and that would make a very good parallel, wouldn't it? Extremely good parallel. So should we go that way with that one? Why not? Oh,
so those who don't know who George and Georgina are, two pythons who are living outside very kitchen door. And they are massive. They are massive.
I'm not kidding. They are absolutely beautiful. And they are
literally Mary can reach them with their hands. They're that way. And they're
George and Georgina. I'm encouraging this. Oh, see how they're cavorting. I just can't get out of some of the plant material. So we really do have to look at our plant material first and foremost. What is it doing for us? I'm going to pop this one here, making this quite wide, this space here. This one can be perhaps a 3, and I'm going to go right over in this corner to make this gap here wider. Do you all understand about that? The 8, 5 and 3. Now you can look at him. So we've already created what? Created rhythm. We're creating rhythm in this design by having these wonderful things that are going in and out, in and out. So we're creating rhythm. This is the last demonstration I'm doing, everybody. So I'm making the most of it.
Mary, can you just review the 3, 5 and 8, please?
What's that?
The 3, 5 and 8. Could you just review that, please?
Now, before we start answering questions, and I notice there's so much in everybody, if you would like to ask a question, please speak up, because she knows and the lady at the back there, she can't hear. Okay, so if you're asking a question, please speak up, okay? We're all friends here, right? Right. The question is,
I've asked Mary, could she review the 3, 5 and 8?
Okay, so the 3, 5, 8 is your proportions, and it's the Fibonacci, goes from the Fibonacci principle of 3, 5 and 8. So here's an 8, here's a 5 and here's a 3. Then on the base here, hopefully, I've got perhaps a 5 there, an 8 here, and this could be my 3. So always working in 3, 5 and 8, or work in a 1/3 and 2/3, and I find that works very well. So by a half, it's very even. and there's no, what's the word, it's too continuous. But if you're working on, you know, that 3, 5 and 8 or 3 and 2 thirds, it works, you know, really well for you, proportion. I've got these wonderful, what are these called, guys? Leucodendron, that's it. So I've got this 8 here. Now, I might come over here with a different, I might do an 8 in this one. These are the lengths I've got and I'm working with. So therefore, taking back a bit and hopefully that parallel. So we're grouping, European grouping. We are also stripping the leaves off the material. That's by taking the leaves off, you're giving more emphasis to the line. Okay, and I don't want two touching. When two touch, they become one. And so it takes an emphasis of that particular move. Is that straight? No, it's not. I believe by doing the European designing, I think it teaches paralleling and how to recognize a straight form or a straight line. Do you agree with that? Perhaps not. So I'm looking at these two guys here. Which way does it go? Goes that way. This one here, that way, or it goes the same. Every plant material, I believe, has a different way of going, or of the line and the head. So I'm looking at the head. Yeah, that's a very straight one. See how that one is straight. So if you want a straight line, you would say, I'm going to have that one. He's a bit crooked actually. He'll do for the bottom. And sometimes it's good to have depth in them, so you could actually have one out the back. Say to have one here. I won't be too long, I must stop talking and keep doing. Let's do it.
You're not on the time.
But then I do have to remember I'm getting older and I haven't got my hearing aids in. So please, that's been such a good excuse this weekend. Could you speak up? I've got my hearing aids in. And I wouldn't necessarily throw those away. Those, done in pinning, threading, etc., are ideal. Michael was making a fantastic design yesterday, Michael. These would do the same thing, wouldn't they? And they would keep their colour. Okay, let's get on with it, guys. Oh dear. I'm off these guys coordinating. Got a thing about it. So we have two lovely, I'll just go off that topic. We've got two lovely diamond pythons. We have Bluey, the bowerbird. He's outside of our lounge or window. So he picks up a lot of blue around the place. He also likes yellow. Did you know blue bowerbirds love yellow?
No.
They do. Do you know what they like? They like white onion flesh. You know the white onion flesh? My Bluey, he picks those up all the time. So I make those especially for him. I go into the shops and I buy anything with blue, as well as all the normal blue. So we're coming together with this. I think we're going to make this group here an 8. We're going to make this group here a 5, and this might be a 3 here. Do you agree with that? I don't mind. You can say whatever you feel and ask any questions. So what did I say I'm making him? 8. So here's my 8 height. It's going to be my 5 height. And this will be my 3. And then grouping, you need a strong group, 8. Then you need a weaker group, and that's going to be my 5. So I'm going to pop him here. He can be there. And then this one here will be a 3 because he's only a smaller group. You all see that? Does that make sense? Now we have some nice Banksia cones. These are from the, these are coastal Banksias. I picked these the other day, and we're going to just do a little wee bit of parvane at the base here. Now it's not only called parvane, it's called groundwork, that you can use any of these techniques.
Are they on their natural stems or have you put them on something?
No, you've got a
Skewer.
skewer on.
You build the whole?
They're drilled. A skewer on. So I'm going to do I have to be a 3. So it depends how much material you've got too, isn't it? Whoops, excuse me. That's many, that's how many I've got of those, so we have to. So the same texture would be these. They're just cut in half. So this is the same texture, so I can get away with using this texture in another group. Okay, see, it's by texture. And isn't it wonderful that we can see now in Australia that our designers are up with world-class designers. And I take my hat off to all of our designers here in Australia, whether they've even competed at a world show, whether they are doing well on Zoom, etc., etc. I think everything is really great, which we actually, so many years ago we didn't have. I had my own florist business up in the Blue Mountains, and I did my TAFE course. It was 4 years, I think, then we did TAFE. So I went through that whole scenario. And as I said, now I'm ready to retire, up in Gonding. Get on with this because
and all the baby George and Georgina.
what was that?
And all the baby George and Georginas that are coming. After cavorting.
We couldn't find the babies after they cavorted. Couldn't find them. I don't know where they're coming.
They're in your ceiling.
So this is a great thing we've got at home. It's a euphorbia. Unfortunately, it does sap. It does have milk, but I think we can cope with that, can't we? It comes out in a beautiful orange colour, and this really is. See what that does? What else is it? Line, line, line. So we're looking all the time. We have to, all the time we're designing. I love that there. Absolutely stunning. Again, this one here. These will continue to grow, and they continue to do this. I forgot, what do they call that term?
Phototropic?
Photo.
Is it phototropic? So they
Photosynthesis, does it?
No, phototropic, where they follow the light.
Oh, phototropic.
Like a tulip. Like a tulip, yes.
Like a tulip. But I quite like that. What else is it doing in this design?
Carrying the colour down.
Repetition of this colour, the stem, repetition of the texture in the stem, repetition of the line in the stem. So we're now, this is all our, look at the colour in that one. Now I haven't necessarily grouped these in 8, 5 and 3. I have just grouped them. Because I'm talking too much. So we've all had this wonderful experience, well, not all of us, but many of us have had this wonderful experience of working with Gregor. And I feel that has enriched our lives, I believe. He has enriched so many people's lives over so many years with his designing. I'm sure you'll all agree. So I'll just place those into there, and I'm taking this chair about because I actually don't like him. There. So we're now continuing this line through here and following the focus down. That will grow if anybody wants any of them, but be careful of the sap in there. It'll grow quite big, or put it into a container when it won't grow quite as large. But I always love this. He's gone on the slide. Just remind me to wash my hands off.
Mary, what's the difference between an informal and formal?
An informal is where, this is going to be an informal.
Yes.
Okay, formal is when if I'd stayed with these and stayed with, I haven't got them in this box, I'll show you in a minute, with strong leaves, grouping, strong leaves, strong upward movements, very little, almost rigid. So that's a formal design, formal paralleling. As soon as you come into using probably I would call these informal because they're not doing a strict, they're more informal. I would also call it, when I start working down here, that'll bring it into the informal.
So the base of this one at the moment is more formal, but once you go over it, it will become informal.
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
you feel parallel as perfect straight lines
Very,
within
very.
the container, nothing comes over the edge of the
But
container.
now, we're bringing this, now these are a little bit old, I'm sorry, but they bring this colour into here beautifully.
So would George and Georgina be invited to a formal? Because, you know, the curvature,
No,
it'd
they're
be
definitely
very straight, wouldn't it?
Definitely informal.
Yeah.
I don't really mind as long as they're there and stay.
Mary, can I just ask you, I love these colours and I love these forms, they're lovely, but if you were asked to do a European design for competition, would you have to use European type flowers?
No.
You don't.
No, Mary.
Just a design
No,
style.
it's the design, if you're looking for European, they're looking for the design. So I've created some depth here with this yellow berry. So now we're looking boom, boom, boom into there. So now we're going to boom, boom, boom with some Chrissies. I bought a plant for these because they were the right colour. But they will just do, as I said, the groundwork that we need. And they are bringing this colour down to here. Repetition, rhythm, etc. Okay? Work on the principles and elements the whole time. Keep working on them. Do you know them?
No,
Share every story.
I decided
But we're learning,
We are learning.
And she's made us open up our books at least at night a little bit more.
I decided that when after you've judged for so long as you know, that's the first thing that comes into your mind, and that's what you judge by, isn't it? The elements and principles of
Absolutely.
design. It's not whether you like the design or not, or whether you like the colour or not. It's how it's been designed. So I thought, well, I'm seeing a lot of things on the bench. You can laugh, girls. We've seen a lot of things on the bench. Madhu will agree with me, I'm sure. What I've heard to. I decided that I would do a little quiz every meeting. I would do a little quiz from the handbook, floral art quiz, just 6 questions. Put your name on the top of the paper.
Oh, the name you had to put your
Answer the 6 questions and hand the sheet in before you go home. Well, the first lesson, or the first month I introduced it, I got maybe half a dozen back. With a lot of them got a lot of the questions right, or a few did. Second month I introduced quiz number 2. Only 1 paper got handed back in. Oh, but I've just got to take it home. I haven't got time to do it now. I've got all the excuses under the sun.
Now I'm just going to Google it.
So I said, no, you've got to do it here. It's only 6 questions. You know, make sure you open your handbook and learn what you have to do. And you'll get a little reward at the end of the year. You're only going to get 6 or 7 quizzes. And it's all out of the handbook, page by page.
But we want to know the topic so we can study it before we come. Most exams you're allowed to study for.
So they've done 1 quiz, number 1. They're going to get quiz number 2 again, because no one handed the sheet in. And I'm determined by the end of the year, but they'll know at least the elements and principles are what they are.
Excellent.
You told us to bring the book with us.
No, I didn't.
Yes, it was.
Did you read the
Yes, it
handbook
was.
at home?
It was
Yes, control.
It's not a open
Not a
book
book
learning,
exam.
it's not open book learning. So that's the problem we're having, Mary. It's very difficult for an oldie to sort of keep this lot in line.
Keep this lot in line, Cecily. Right.
Do you actually remember most of us are only trying to remember?
So
But
what
everyone, all the demonstrators, keep emphasising elements and principles of design, that's all it is. If you know those, you can put a good design together.
Yeah. The other, you can also you can analyse your own design.
That's right. That's, I
And
haven't
that,
told
I
them about
believe-
that bit yet. Let them get through learning the elements and principles first, then they'll get their self-assessment.
Now, I'm not happy with those now.
No.
Why aren't I happy with them?
Pointing out and stuff.
Mary, let's just move.
No, no, it's not anything to do with that. No. Where are they going?
They're taking
Yes,
your
they are.
eye away from the
But
design.
what's happening is they are taking right away from all of this.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so it's actually acting with my unity and harmony. And my eyes telling me I don't like them, they're in the wrong place. But for today, I might leave them. They could come down one head shorter, just to bring into this line. Do you see that?
Yes.
Just that one is taking your eye away from the design too.
Oh, but Cecily, they're cavorting, dear.
Yes,
That was the class
yeah,
twice.
their age, their age.
I know, but what do you mean? Your age? Do you mean you haven't had a cavort lately? Goodness gracious. Now, if all else fails, well, you could get these sticks. These have just been taken off of here, and I know Cecily said less is more, but look what these guys do.
As well.
Look what these guys do in there. Do you see? They do a job too. Don't put anything in your design that doesn't do a job. I've seen quite a lot of fluffy designs here this weekend. A lot of fluffy ones. And it says, oh, I must put that dahlia in. I've got that dahlia, I'm going to put it in. No, I must put that in. I bought it and I'm going to use it. So be careful of what you're putting in and have it telling a story. The other thing a stick does, can you see the ends of these?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that repetition?
Colour.
Colour, repetition, repeating of the colour in there. It does all of those. If I had to jam this tight, one could have just taken that and that. Am I going on too quick? Sorry, Faye. Right there a minute. We could have even just brought those in there. Insignificant, you might think.
In your base work, yes.
But even 3 sticks.
Yes.
See how that 3 6 says, yes, I want to be there. I'll get it for you. You get it. Thank you. Thank you.